Just months ago, the Rays took a risk in signing Ha-Seong Kim. It didn't work out.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and we are Kevin and Ulysses.
And we're lifelong Rays fans who've been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
Later on in today's show, we'll break down why Ha-Seong Kim is one of the Rays' biggest disappointments in team history. In a few minutes, we discuss why the Rays have faith in Carson Williams, remaining shortstop for the remainder of the season. But to start, let's talk about why DFAing Ha-Seong Kim is really a blessing for both the Rays and the shortstop.
And we're going to talk about all of that. But first, we've got to tell you that this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Look at that. You're just placed on waivers. And Kim is going to Atlanta. And guess what? It's a blessing in disguise for both him and the Rays, Kev.
I agree. It is a blessing in disguise because as Kim continued to get hurt and not play with the Rays, the writing was on the wall that he would exercise that player option for $16 million. And frankly, if that player option gets exercised, I don't have a whole lot of confidence at this point on this day that he would be a productive member of the Rays in 2026, just based on all the issues that have come forth this season between the offseason shoulder surgery, which we knew about, but that delayed his initial debut, and then the myriad back issues and other ailments that he was dealing with.
And let's not forget that we were told mid-May. He's back in mid-May. Mid-May became late May, early June, mid-June, late June. July 4th, Kim is here. Too late. So that's one thing about his return, or I guess debut with the Rays. The ongoing injuries on top of each other, and back and then groin. I think a groin or hamstring, and then obviously the shoulder surgery. I think this is a blessing in disguise because first, let's talk about that money. $16 million for a player option, a player who, by the way, in 24 games with the Rays, he had 5 RBIs, a 214 average, 2 home runs, and a 612 OPS. You don't think a guy that's doing that is going to want to opt in for $16 million? That's the fastest yes anybody has ever done. So that's one. That's a bunch of money that now the Rays don't have to put on the books.
Yes.
But
especially with the new ownership coming on board.
Exactly.
And you don't know what their decision-making is going to be. And look, the Rays, and I know they've won 4 in a row as of this recording, but they're going to need some additional help next season. Not to say all that $16 million will be allocated to someone or multiple someone's else, but it could be, or a portion of it could be to, get a reliever or get a veteran starter, somebody that can, supplement this team for next year.
Well, and with the $16 million and a new ownership coming in, you want to make it so easy for them to spend money. Or let's word it another way. You want to make it easier for the fandom to expect a move. And you wouldn't have been able to do that if you're the fandom, if you have $16 million on Ha-Seong Kim. So this is a blessing. And I know we're saying blessing in disguise, but it's just a blessing because it's pretty obvious, I think, that this is a good thing for the Rays monetarily, because now you open up that whole portfolio of things that you said. Could it be a veteran starter for 16 mil? Could it be somebody that you could really entice for a bullpen piece that you can really get that strong? The bullpen showed their flaws in the middle of the season, which kind of turned into not having a playoff run late in September. So those two could be options. And hey, being a Rays fan, I'm always going to be scared of the lineup not producing enough. So $16 million, yeah, it's not going to bring you the top 25 hitters, but somebody that could be a piece, somebody that could be trusted with a little bit of a 750 OPS, 20 bombs, that is doable for $16 million, is it not?
No, I agree. And furthermore, beyond these $16 million, the Rays also saved $2 million this season with the
Right.
Braves picking up that contract. And for Kim, I think it ultimately helps him too, because look, his tenure with the Rays has been mired in disappointment. And that has to settle in the head of like, man, I just cannot figure it out with this team based on injuries. And then at some point, usually the fans start to turn on you and it becomes a whole problem. But with going to the Braves, it becomes a fresh start. Plus, the Braves really desperately need middle infield help. And I think their intention is to, assuming he's healthy, just let him go out, play shortstop, get action. We kind of want you to opt into that $16 million and have a bounce back year, be comeback player of the year in 2026, which again, I'm rooting for Ha-Seong Kim. I liked these, I don't know if I should say savvy, but I like the gumption, the cojones of the Rays for making this move, because when you're a small market team, you have to take risk every once in a while. And Ha-Seong Kim, as much as he was productive with the Padres, it was a risk because he was coming out of offseason shoulder surgery, which is why he didn't get that, 5-year, $80 million deal that he wanted. But I think with the Braves, he gets a new start and he gets an opportunity to play a lot of shortstop. And if he does well in 2026, like he gets back to the old Ha-Seong Kim that Padres fans are mostly accustomed to, I would not be surprised if the Braves do what they did with Charlie Morton and Travis d'Arnaud of giving him a contract extension for a couple years if he's willing to accept that.
And Kevin, I think you hit something very important there in the middle. With the Braves not having Swanson for a few years now, they tried with Arcia. It didn't really work out. They had a hole. The Braves are able to bet on not only $2 million for 1 month and $16 million on the next year because they just have a bigger payroll. It's a whole different, world for the Braves than for the Rays to do $16 million. So if it's a blessing for the Rays to get out of this player option that's looming over them, it's a blessing as well for Kim and the Braves, because now Kim gets to actually play shortstop all day, all day, every day. And the Braves get an option, affordable, quote unquote, for their payroll. And I did say the shortstop thing as a little bit cheeky because I did say this with Klosky last time on the episode. I didn't believe that Kim would be right back. I didn't think it would be this way, but I did say it, folks. It was, I just want to say also, Kevin, do you know how many games Kim played at shortstop?
I would say a good majority of those 24 games that he played at were at shortstop. 24 games, by the way, for $13 million. Let's put that in context.
That hurts.
And anyway, it's not like it was the best 24 games ever. They were middling at best.
They were not. Anyway, 24 games with the Rays, 19 games as a shortstop. Kevin, it was 50%. It was a coin toss. If Walls was in the lineup, he was either going to be playing second or shortstop. He wasn't even the starting shortstop if Walls was in there. You guys can look it up. The 8 times that both Walls and Kim were in the lineup, it was half and half. So it's a blessing for the Rays not to pay this money. It's a blessing for Kim to get to play shortstop only. And it's a blessing for the Braves to find, hopefully, an affordable option that can work out for them in the future. But we're talking about the future. I mean, if Ha-Seong Kim gone, that can only mean that the Rays actually have an open lane for Carson Williams. Hey, Locked On Rays fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Well, don't do that. Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You're already going to get gas, right? Well, why don't you get up to $300 a year just from buying that gas you already needed? Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and then you can cash out at any time using PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this offer drive by. Download the free Upside app right now. Use our limited time code for a limited 25-cent per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. And now there are only 2 homestands left for the Rays in 2025, and you've got to go see your Rays, and you got to use Game Time. Why? Well, because it's actually fun to get tickets using Game Time. You know why? Because there's no surprise fees. That's my favorite part about Game Time. You don't just get stuck with all these fees at the end of the line that you didn't think that you would get, okay? It's the price you see. That's the price that you pay. So take advantage and download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. Thank you for listening and watching Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Carson Williams gets an open lane at shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is it. This is them saying, here are the keys to the car, kid. Go drive it. Don't crash it, though. Be careful. Wear your seatbelt. Check the oil. Make sure the tires are filled up, Just be responsible, but have fun with it. This is so great. And we've talked about this since, I think, 4 weeks ago, maybe. Give time to the young kids. And this move of Kim going to the Braves really just highlights the Rays. You know what? I'm going to steal your word, gumption, cojones, from the Rays front office to say, you know what? This didn't work out. Let's get rid of it, and we're going to insert Carson Williams and see what happens. Good. I like that gumption from the Rays front office, because sometimes we talk about how things just seem to never move as fast as you want them. They need the sample sizes. They need the here, the right, the left, the winter, the summer. This time it's like, no, this is not going to work out. Here you go, Carson.
Kind of like what they've done previously with Jonathan Aranda and Curtis Mead, just kind of messing with them a little bit. And to your point, Eric Neander said flat out, if the Rays were 10 games over 500 as of right now, Ha-Seong Kim is not on waivers. The Rays are clearly not in that position. I know they're on a 4-game winning streak, but they still have a lot to do. And even then, I'm not like, it's not even that out of the question that Ha-Seong Kim comes back and he gets hurt again. Like, that is
right.
We've seen some evidence for that time and time again this season. And Carson Williams, to his credit, especially for a rookie, has looked pretty solid this season. His numbers are respectable. I know something that you really like, Ulises, about Carson Williams is his hustle and his drive. And things that have consistently been said about him is not just his talent, but his temperament, his personality, his maturity. But I think this is a play from the playbook of the Junior Caminero situation, where he was called up and got to play regularly for the last 6 weeks of the season. And he talked about how beneficial that was for him to get familiar with major league pitching, the speed of the game, and build a rapport with his teammates. Carson Williams cannot get better as a major leaguer. He cannot thrive unless he has opportunity and reps and, frankly, the chance to play every day. And with Kim 100% out of the picture and Taylor Wall's injured, this is the Carson Williams show. And you know what? I know the Rays are on a 4-game winning streak. And if Carson makes a mistake or 2 or 3, so be it, because it's still highly unlikely that they're going to make the playoffs. So this is really a time for him to get an understanding of what he's dealing with, have some success, have some failure, then use this offseason to try to figure it out and get better. I mean, it helped the audition helped Junior Caminero. I think it can also help Carson Williams without the pressure of, oh, well, Ha-Seong Kim's coming back. We're going to send you down if you go 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. He really doesn't have to deal with that. This is his show right now at the shortstop position.
Imagine how, I mean, he's already a hard worker. Imagine how much work he's going to put into in this offseason after a month in the big leagues. You can't take that away from him. I mean, this guy's going to be just chomping at the bit, saying, that's mine. I'm going to be the starting shortstop. Nobody's going to take it away from me. I'm going to work harder than everybody. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to see him in 2026 because I know he's going to be so hungry for it. And you're right. One of the things I like about him has been his hustle. Man, dude, like, BA has said this time and time again, and I will forever agree with it. The one thing you can control in baseball is how much effort you give it, man. How much effort you give it. That's it. Yeah, can you make some boneheaded base running like Randy Arozarena sometimes? Yeah. But nobody can ever say Randy doesn't try. Nobody can ever say that Randy doesn't sweat the sweatshirt, the jersey. No, he does. Yes. He does every time. It's just some players do that. And Carson Williams has that gene in like the Jake Mangum, the Chandler Simpson. Like, I'm not going to give you anything unless you earn it from me. If it's under my willpower, I can control it. I will give it the 100%. And Carson Williams has shown that. Just routine grounders, just running it out. I love that, man. I know it sounds incredibly boomer and like I should be on heaven's waiting room, but I don't care, man. It's the truth. That's how I like to see my baseball players play.
Yeah, and as we've seen in the short stint with Carson Williams, yes, he's always going to have a lot of strikeouts. That's just part of who he is. But we've also seen legit power, that straightaway home run to center and hitting the ball to all fields.
Yes.
So I think, look, not saying that Carson Williams will ever be as good or as valuable as Junior Caminero. I mean, they are different players in a sense. But just in the short stint that we've seen Carson Williams, I think he's going to be a good one. And this is a great opportunity for him. And like you mentioned, Chandler Simpson and Jake Mangum, this provides him, Carson, an opportunity to rub elbows with those guys and say, hey, yes, what were some of your missteps and what did you learn as a rookie? And maybe, he can have a quicker learning curve from that, along with some of the tested veterans like Brandon Lau. I think this is a good mix of players for Carson Williams to matriculate with, if you will. And, there's a lot of other rookies on the team. This is a time for him to kind of maybe stand out and take on a little bit of a leadership role among the other young players.
What you're saying to me reminds me of the camaraderie in 2018. That college team was really fun, that 2018 team. What happened the next year? ALDS. Why? They sprinkled a little bit of veterans like Avisail Garcia, Tommy Pham. That can be your Brandon Lau. That can be who, by the way, was a fresh rookie in 2019. Yandy Diaz, it didn't look it because he's always looked massive, but he didn't have any time in major leagues in 2019. So, like, these guys not growing up necessarily because they haven't been from A all the way to the major leagues together, but at least AAA together. The camaraderie of now we're here, that makes the clubhouse tighter, man. And we heard, albeit a little bit late, we heard clubhouse issues from last year, and that had been growing as the years went on. We haven't heard that this year. that's something you can control, right? It's difficult to, because you got 26 grown men with their own egos, and they're professional athletes. So my gosh, the egos can't even fit in the room. But if you can try to minimize that by having that camaraderie of like, we're pulling together, we've been through the crap together, now we're here. I think that's awesome.
Without the pressure of trying to make the playoffs. Like right now,
Yes.
the pressure is on trying to be 500.
Yes.
Like anybody that's realistic knows that this is not a playoff team, or they're most likely not going to the playoffs. So you can you don't have that on your back that you're having to deal with either. Meanwhile, do want to touch on Ha-Seong Kim. His tenure with the Rays will undoubtedly go down as one of the most disappointing in franchise history. All right, listeners, we have an important request for you all. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping out.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. So let's not do that. And you can avoid that by using Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone, even when you're on the go and you want to know what's going on, you can just look at the Monarch Money app, and there it is. So do not let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com using promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Ha-Seong Kim, now that it's done and over with, he is an Atlanta Brave now for what it's worth. Now that the Kim experiment is over, I think it's fair to say, and it's not too far reaching to make the claim and point that he will go down as one of the most, if not the most disappointing free agent in Rays history. Just to reiterate, he signed a 2-year, $29 million contract with the Rays, with the player opt out after 2025. The expectation was that, yes, he did have shoulder surgery in the offseason, and then he would be back around mid-May, give or take. No, it was July when he made his debut and then got hurt, seemingly. We thought we'd get a Gold Glove infielder, high on base, speed, versatility, and ultimately a guy that when you're paying that amount of money would help get you to the promised land of the playoffs. Now, Kim's not the only guy. It also didn't help that, Shane McClanahan had his issues. Other players had their issues. But in reality, what we got from that contract and that signing was 24 games played with a slash line of 214, 290, 321. And by
you're dancing. Yeah. You can say it. He is one of the most disappointing free agents in
racing. I'm laying that out there. He's right up there with Pat the Bat Burrell. He's right up there with Yoshi Suzuki. He's right up there with Phil Maton. He's right up there with fill in the blank of however many names you need to.
Manny Ramirez.
Yes.
Manny Ramirez. Like, this is, you mentioned the 29 mil. Okay. So 16 of that 29 was for the player option for next year. Okay. So we don't touch that. Okay. So 13 mil. And we said the Rays actually saved 2 mil. So in essence, He played 24 games for the Rays, and the Rays paid him $11 million. And you're telling me on Twitter, oh, we better get rid of Yandy at $11 million. We better get rid of Brendan Lau for 11. No. If you can spend $11 million on Ha-Seong Kim to give you 24 games and a 620 OPS, was it a 620 OPS?
Thereabouts. It was bad. It didn't even matter. It was so bad.
Exactly. Thank you. And you are not trading Yandy Diaz. You are not trading Brendan Lau from the lineup. I don't care. I don't care. You just paid this man $11 million to do a bit, not even what Taylor Walls gives you, honestly.
Right. Well, yeah, the greatest availability, or the greatest ability, is availability. And Kim was unavailable. In fact, to your point about Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz, okay, if you don't use that $16 million for anything else, it should most likely be used towards ensuring that Brandon Lau and Yandy Diaz are part of the 2020-16 team.
You at least have one of those players covered already and 5 more for the other guy. And guess what? That shouldn't be it. But if you still want to pinch pennies, fine. But although the new ownership should not think like the old ownership, we're thinking like Stu would be still in command under that premise. Let's not think that way. Let's think a little bit higher than that. But you're right. I mean, it's crazy. $11 million for 24 games. Unbelievable. He has to make the podium of worst free agent signings. Yeah. And you know what?
He might be at the top of it, honestly, now that we're thinking about it and talking through it, because at least, Yoshi Tsutsugo, the money wasn't as much. I mean, that was a 2-year contract for $12 million. And I'll give him a little bit of a reprieve because it was during the COVID season.
Right.
But then again, there was a whole press conference and ticker tape parade for his signing. So that wasn't a good look. And then Pat Burrell, I mean, at least he played some more games and gave you some homers. He gave you 1.5 seasons. It wasn't great production. And this was a guy who, had been so consistent and automatic with the Phillies that every year you could pencil him in for 280 and 24 to 30 homers, 800 plus OPS. Like, he was the guy that was supposed to get the Rays to World Series contention again, and that clearly, of course, didn't happen. But $11 million, even in this economy, $11 million for 24 par games is really remarkable. And this might take the cake for a while now.
It's definitely in the podium of worst free agent signings, but I can definitely see the point that it could be the worst just because of the gravity of the amounts of games played and the dollar attached to that. You can't get past it. It's $11 million for 24 games. I mean, that's Judge doesn't even get paid that. Shohei doesn't even get paid that. Kim did. 24 I mean, maybe the only player in baseball that gets paid that way or even more is Anthony Rendon. That's about it.
The only way that Kim could have lived up to earning that amount of money is if he hit a home run in every game. If he had 24 home runs in 24 games, all right, I'll shut up. We'll give you 11.
That meant 16 for every 24 games, But no, he has to be on the podium, and it sucks because you want every guy to succeed that's wearing a Rays uniform, and hopefully he succeeds with the Braves. But the thing that stinks about this, for me at least, the thing that really just I hate about this, or extremely dislike rather, is the Rays did the right thing. It's kind of like Nelson Cruz all over again. Like, yes, that was the right move. The right move in 2021 was get an all-star, a veteran who jacked 19 at the deadline, and be like, we need this guy. Mm-hmm. That was the right move. That's why it sucks so bad that it didn't honestly worked out as well as we wanted it to, but that was the right move. In this case, you needed to shore up shortstop. You needed to do something risky, but something with gumption, something with a lot of oomph behind the plums.
Right.
It didn't work. And that's why it really stinks.
It does. And again, I hope this doesn't dissuade or discourage the Rays from making similar quote unquote risky moves in the future, or at least knowing that, you're signing a guy to a 1-year, 2-year deal. He may have a little baggage here and there, and you hope lightning's caught in a bottle and he's able to have a good year with you, because it is possible. But yeah, it's just it's really unfortunate, because I truly believe that Kim, if he had stayed healthy and wasn't delayed until July, and he played like we saw him with the Padres, he would have developed and fostered into a fan favorite, just because of his unique and versatile skill set that we just didn't have an opportunity to witness. We only saw 24 games of it, and not 24 games at his full potential either.
And this team probably wouldn't be where it was at. You can argue it's the bullpen that was undone, the record maybe, but I think Kim being there instead of 24 games, just healthy for 80, for 90, I think that would have made a world of difference.
Yeah, and who knows, if he was healthy like he should have been on the timetable that we all expected, maybe the Rays didn't sell some of their assets and they kept them. They could have been a couple games over 500, and we could be talking legitimately about a wild card or something like that. But that is revisionist history, and that's Monday Morning Quarterback, and we try not to do that all that much. In the meantime, we hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later on.